Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast around the attraction entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado. How did I fuck that up?
I don't know.
Done it over 380 times. Owner or plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And before we get into this week's podcast, I want to do an urgent clarification.
Yeah.
Because I realized something that when we did the Redux episode last week.
Yeah.
Because we had to.
Mm-hmm.
We got kind of screwed. But I realized when I talked about why we were doing the Redux episode, I kind of fucked over whatever ended up next week on accident. I want to make it clear that the episode we had to put on ice because of a wild Nazi appearing is not this episode.
No.
This is not the episode from last week that we had to put. This is sheer coincidence.
Yeah.
As you'll understand in a little bit when we talk about timeline. We got this mask just like at the perfect time to do it this week. That has nothing to do at all with what happened last week. In fact, that episode, I'm pretty sure, is dead.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Yeah, because we did a lot of research on it, and it would have been an interesting thing to talk about, but...
It would have been the easiest hour to talk about.
Yeah,
especially after all the work we put into it.
Yeah, but we're not going to,
promote or
tell
platform.
y'all to go and find this product and support Nazis.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not who we are.
So...
Y'all know
that is not Shattered FX.
No.
Shattered FX, by all accounts, is great. This is something completely unrelated that you're probably never going to hear about again on this podcast.
Yeah.
Shattered FX is wonderful, and we're going to get into some good and some bad. We're going to talk about it honestly, but just know that this is not the episode we held off on.
No.
So if you want to see other episodes of ours, do check us out at the places we exist. We're at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/Haunt Weekly is the YouTube channel. You can also find us wherever you get your podcast from. Pay special attention to the Facebook page. A, we have a video of the mask there.
Yes.
And B, that's where we do our live shows when we do them. We're trying to get a few queued up soon. So stay tuned, facebook.com/Haunt Weekly. All right, every week we do these shows. We ask a question a week, and last week we asked a boring one, but we had a fun one, but it was a fun one. We asked, what was your first experience with a haunted attraction? Crystal, start us off.
Right. Portals of Fear said small JC haunt near Pittsburgh. A lot of JC haunts.
Yeah, I picked literally the first one chronologically, but several people, including a lot of regulars, had their first experience with JCs, and honestly, that's not a shock.
No.
If you are of a certain age, where you say things like, I'm of a certain age, you probably did start with the JCs. Victor Ruella said, the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. Dude, bad move. You peaked. like at the beginning. I mean, okay, I can relate, because it was one of my first ones, was the Haunted Mansion ride in Disney World. But Jesus, everything else, that's just... You screwed yourself. Anyways.
Sam Farrell said Haunted Inn Hotel at the Myrtle Beach Pavilion.
Oh, man, that was probably my first haunted attraction I bought my own ticket for.
Yeah.
I remember that. Well, I remember the pavilion very well. I miss the pavilion. It's no longer, for those who don't know, Myrtle Beach Pavilion was a theme park / tourist area / general, beachfront thing. That had a lot of cool stuff in it. It had roller coasters, arcades, the haunted hotel attraction. I'm still to this day very sad. And we went to Myrtle Beach not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was rough realizing that, the pavilion ain't there no more. Hadn't been there in a while. And my childhood is gone.
Yeah.
And finally, Audrey Smith, well, not finally, Jesus Christ. Audrey Smith said she grew up without anything Halloween or horror related. And she didn't say why, but she said a friend of hers named Christian Peebles worked at a local haunt, got her a free ticket. She went and was just instantly hooked and returned next year to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Jump in. I agree.
Max Schick said the haunted ship in Duluth, Minnesota. Halloween Night and a horrible Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, they did a Halloween theme. Sorry, I made
Yes.
that clear. Unclear in the notes, but yeah, they did a horrible Freddy Krueger. But everything else was great.
Mhm.
Like they literally said, Max said was laughably bad. I believe was the exact term. That's rough. Anyways, and then James Thurman said his mom would do a basement haunted house every year with older kids from the neighborhood acting. And then they threw a big pizza party afterward. That just sounds awesome.
That just sounds like you grew up in haunting.
Yeah, I don't really have any comment. I think you grew up in haunting, and your mom, at least on this front, is awesome.
Okay.
But that brings us to this week's question of the week, and it's a divide that has struck our industry to the core.
Mhm.
It has divided us for decades now, and it is a simple 3-word question. You ready? Mask or makeup? Which do you prefer? Let us know. HauntWeekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and YouTube.com/Haunt Weekly. Let us know. We'll also post the question week as a separate thread on Facebook. Please take a minute and let us know. Do you prefer mask or makeup? My answer is going to be coming up very shortly. I don't feel the need to explain. But
Yeah.
what about you?
Different situations call for different things.
Okay, fair enough. If you had to choose one, though, like what you prefer to work in. I'm just curious. You don't have to actually answer.
Yeah.
It's a tough question, though.
Well, I've only worked in a mask a couple of times.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It was a little warmer. But the reason I go with makeup every year is because my character changes every year.
Yeah.
And that's a big, you can't, I can change the makeup night to night if I need to. If something isn't working, isn't getting the character across, I can change it up the next day.
That's one of the advantages of
It's
makeup.
flexible.
Yeah. And you change character every year, like you said.
Yeah.
So that flexibility means a lot more to you than someone like me who's played the same character now for over 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair play. All right. Well, it is an even-numbered episode. It is 382. I just checked. So it's time to do conference reminders. And Crystal, why don't you start us off again?
Okay.
Ladies first.
Yeah. Spooky Swap Meet is April 29th and 30th in Los Angeles, California at the Heritage Square Museum. It's a great place to purchase gently loved items, including costumes and decor created by co-founder of Midsummer Scream. SpookySwapMeet.com for more info.
All right. May 5th through the 7th in Savannah, Georgia is the Southeast Hollows and Haunt Convention at the Savannah Convention Center in Savannah, Georgia. Featuring 3 days of haunted attraction-related seminars doing everything from insurance to costuming.
Mm-hmm.
This is a wide gamut of topics. I'm not kidding. They also have 2 separate makeup contests, one for each of the main day of the event, and a masquerade ball. Early bird tickets are available until March 31st. That's this week, folks. If you're going to get an early bird ticket, do it. Prices go up in April.
Mm-hmm. Right. Texas Haunters Convention is July 15th and 16th in Mesquite, Texas at the Mesquite Convention Center, featuring a trade show floor and a costume ball on Saturday, door prizes, costume contest, and a game night. TexasHauntersConvention.com for more info.
All right, and finally this week, July 21st through the 23rd in Garden City, Ohio, it is HorrorWeenCon, Idaho. They've changed the name of it. It used to be Halloween and Idaho, Boise Halloween and Interactive something show, but they changed it as HorrorCon. They're HorrorWeenCon, rather, Idaho, because they also now have other events I've got to add to the calendar. But yes, Garden City, Idaho, at the North Expo Hall at Expo, Idaho, featuring home haunting classes, pro haunter classes, as well as costume and makeuping sessions. IdahoHorror.com for more information. Looks very much interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, an interesting thing, real fast, work we did on our haunt. Yeah, we got the mask.
Yep.
Shut up. That was actually a lot of work. I know it doesn't sound like much. Definitely, once again, as part of this, I encourage you, check out Facebook.com/HauntWeekly. Hey, like us there if you don't. I don't know why you wouldn't if you're listening, you big lug. But if you haven't, do that. and check out the very short test fit video. But bear in mind, that video was done without me in costume, no makeup, and only a very brief fitting.
Yeah, it was the very first time out of the box onto the head.
Yeah. And so...
And the first time wearing a silicone mask.
Yeah. I've actually worn a silicone mask briefly before at Eddie's. He stuck me in one for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
It was not one that was that good, though. But it was one that had the same cling to the face. Because masks have improved a lot in recent years. Like in the recent decades. I think we're coming to a very new renaissance of mask making. But anyways, we got the new Bernie mask in. We purchased it from Shattered FX. And like I said, we completed one try-on. We just have not had time. It's been we got it on Friday the 24th. More on that in a minute. And it was a very busy weekend.
Yes.
It ended up being a very full weekend. We didn't get a chance to do anything else with it. We want to take photos, videos, and things for both all the social media. I mean, we got to redo every scrap of marketing we've done.
Yep.
And it's going to be a motherfucker.
Yep, so we will be looking for those banners to go on sale on Vistaprint and other places.
No shit. Because that's the thing. We spent $500+ on the mask. We're probably going to spend close to that on marketing, on redoing the marketing. Because, like you said, banners got to go. All the flyers got to be redone. And granted, that would have to be redone anyway for the year. But, a lot of this stuff has been, like the business cards we made, a lot of this stuff has been semi-permanent year over year over year. And it's got to go because Bernie looks quite a good bit different. I would say quite a good bit better.
Yes.
But anyways, I want to spoil the ending a little bit and say that we're very happy with the final product and the price. However, we'll discuss there were some issues and hiccups because we're not here to bash Shattered FX, but we want to be honest and transparent about everything. We want to cover all the positives and all of the negatives, and that's what we're going to do. But first, background time. Why a mask for Bernie? A lot of people are going to ask that because there are a lot of drawbacks to working, especially in a silicone mask. And the big one is this is some heavy fucking shit that's glued to your face for hours on end. It is exhausting. It is difficult to work with. It can be hard to breathe, and it is somewhat claustrophobic. I will not lie. But we have 4 reasons for choosing to go the mask route. One is simply speed of application. The 2 hours before opening, when all of our actors and front of house people are arriving, is chaos.
Yeah, especially opening night.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of time to apply complex makeup, and we don't have a dedicated person for makeup.
No, we have people that are very good at makeup.
Yes.
But everyone that does makeup also does something else in the haunt. And so it's hard, and they're also trying to fucking get food in them. They're trying to get liquid into them.
Yeah.
Trying to rest, try to reconnect, learn their roles, take to mastery of things. It's a lot. So we don't have time to sit there and do a complicated, because this would take me probably 30+ minutes in a makeup chair.
Yeah.
And that takes me out of the loop, and it takes someone else out of the loop too. So we just don't have time. The second is that it's just too complicated. That we have good makeup people here. Doing something that's detailed enough to really clearly get across the old man thing, in even a semi-realistic way, that's hard. And as good as our people are with makeup, the ability to do that in a timely fashion, I think it's beyond us. The big one, admittedly, though, has been consistency. All of the Bernie photos from the last 10 years look the exact same.
Yes.
Because it's the exact same mask.
We bought several of them at the same time so that when one of them wore out, we could just throw in another one.
Yeah, and we also bought others along too, as we'll get into why we did it. But yeah, if we took a Bernie photo today in the old mask, it would look exactly the same as it would have in 2010 or 2012 or something like that. Exactly the same. From the first day we used that mask. You can't do that with makeup. Even the best makeup artists have differences and inconsistencies. And that's okay because that lends to the flexibility that you were talking about.
Right.
But it also, for promotional purposes, kind of sucks. And the personal reason, I fucking hate wearing makeup.
Yeah.
It's not that it's a woman's thing or anything like that. It's just I hate having painted shit on my face.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot stand it. I am too scared of rubbing it and rubbing it off and damaging it.
Mm-hmm.
I sweat a lot. Even like in doing Bernie, I'm going to sweat regardless of mask or no mask.
Yeah.
It is rough. And like a while back, 3 of us went to Hedwig the Angry Inch.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing a live performance of it, and someone was there doing charity glitter.
Yeah.
And I was buzzed. We've been day drinking that day.
Yeah.
And so I agreed to do it. And the entire time I have it on my face, I'm like, there's shit on my face, there's shit on my face, there's shit on my face, there's shit on my face. And it doesn't matter how drunk I am, how much I love Hedwig. My brain is just on this cycle of there's shit on my face, and I can't get out of it.
Yeah.
I absolutely cannot stand wearing makeup. And you might think, well, a mask is like clingier. It's more on your face.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels separate from my face.
Yeah.
It's on my face. It's not like part of it. And I'm not going to like rub it off on accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you combine those things, and basically it was an obvious choice to go with a mask for Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
And we always have.
Yeah.
Ever since the very first year. And so the history of the Bernie mask is actually kind of interesting, as we realized when we were thinking about this episode, because this is the 4th iteration of the Bernie mask, or the 4th mask we've gotten for the Bernie character.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we've done it, we've literally gone like an order of magnitude in price and quality.
Yeah.
Which you're probably thinking, wait, 4 iterations and you're just now at the silicone mask level? What the fuck was your first mask?
Well,
Glad you asked, stranger.
Yeah. It was a $5 witch mask from Walmart that I found.
Yeah,
Now,
I forgot that you... To be fair.
In 2005, we were lucky to find anything.
Yeah, and once again, context. We're from New Orleans. This was months after Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of places weren't even open.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we had...
None of the big box stores put out their entire Halloween
No,
selection
Target didn't put anything out that year. I remember that. Even though that Target, the one on Manhattan here in the West Bank, took no damage that I can recall in the store.
Yeah, they didn't. Barnes and Noble didn't. Home Depot was just barely
Home
tipping
Depot,
its feet.
yeah, but it had like a rack. But Home Depot had bigger shit to worry about in Home Depot's defense.
Yeah.
I would not expect Home Depot to put out the Halloween section that year.
Same thing happened after Ida.
Yeah.
They didn't have their Halloween stuff, and by that time they were selling the props
Yeah.
and things.
Yeah, but that was A, back when Home Depot wasn't doing good with Halloween.
Yeah.
And B, yeah, Home Depot in New Orleans had other shit to worry about, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But we found a $5 witch mask. It was painted stark white with green hair.
Yep.
It looked hideous. And even though it was a mask for a quote-unquote female character, I mean, it said witch on it, it was a very androgynous mask. It had a long hook nose. You put a top hat and a cane with it. It looks like a vaudevillain type character.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we didn't know what the character of Bernie was going to be like that year or any year after it. I mean, Bernie was doing fucking magic tricks out there that year.
Yes, and by magic tricks we mean putting Mentos in soda, because that's how far back this was.
Yeah, that was one of them. We did another. We bought another that I was able to do a little sleight of hand, but the problem was I kept fucking up the sleight of hand because of the gloves.
Yeah.
Like I practiced it and got decent at it without gloves, not thinking that I was remembering that I was going to be wearing gloves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looked like shit. And that lasted 1 year. That lasted that initial year. The very next mask was what I call the hairy mask. And I had forgotten about this.
Yeah.
Until I saw photos on flyers and some of my archived material to remind me of this. This was a regular Walmart mask.
Yeah.
We went from the bargain bin at Walmart or the big box store to actually buying something on the rack.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Kmart was a thing then,
God.
had Halloween.
Yeah.
Except for that year. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kmart's where we got a lot of our good props from, actually, amazingly enough.
That's what I was thinking of. We got the rubber knives
weapons,
and that are still around.
And they're still in use. We still use them pretty much every year, at least as decoration, because they're that good. They can take the beating. But anyways, the hairy mask. Hairy mask. Hairy, very hairy mask.
Yeah.
It was a regular Walmart mask. I don't remember how much it cost, but it was $20 would have been.
15 to 20.
It was at $15 to $25, somewhere in that range. But it was so weird. It was an old man's mask, but it had very bushy eyebrows, tufts of hair around the bald, like a bald ring around it. And honestly, it looked silly. I mean, like too silly. Like Bernie's a silly, fun character, but this guy looked like he should be exploring the world in a hot air balloon, not introducing a haunted house. It looks like he should be in like the Explorers Club, sitting under a taxidermied bear, talking about his trip to Antarctica he did 50 years ago or some shit.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't look like a horror character at all, funny or goofy or otherwise. So it only lasted a season or two itself because we found the DOA mask, or the Dead on Arrival mask, but it's just called the DOA mask. And if you look up that on Spirit's site or Amazon, you'll find the exact mask.
Yeah. And we found it first at a small local costume shop that's no longer in business. But it was, we were like, is this the only one you have? And they're like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we go back the next year. They've got another one. So we snapped that one up too.
Yeah.
And then they closed.
Yeah. And then we ended up discovering that Spirit had it. But with the Spirit tax, we would always wait until November 1st to buy them.
Right.
And then we discovered Amazon has them too. So I think we've bought 4 or 5 of these. I don't know how many of these masks we got.
No.
I know we have at least 4. One was the thin version. And 3 regular. But our listeners know this as the Mask of Wilbur.
Yeah.
And basically it's a high-end consumer mask. Is the way I would describe it.
Yeah.
When we were making the purchase originally, it cost about between $60 and $80 basically. And like I said, we bought several more. We bought some to have backups. We bought a couple with the intent of cutting them up and doing something with them, like making sock masks.
Yeah.
That never came to fruition for a bunch of reasons. So we own at least 4, probably more copies of that mask. We probably invest over $200 just in that mask over the years. Over $300 probably. And honestly, it's been a good mask. The main problem I've had with it is that it doesn't fit my face particularly well after a while. It seems to stretch out very quickly, especially the thin one. So after just a few seasons, remember our season's only 3 nights.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, this isn't going to last like a pro haunt's, 16 to 25 night season.
No way.
It would never make it. But it would stretch out, it would deform, and the mouth would cease moving. I mean, I don't have the biggest chin in the world, but if it's a fresh and crisp one, my chin will rest in there and the mouth will move fairly convincingly with me. But once it gets stretched, it just looks like a mask.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. It's disappointing. And it's also, as we'll get into in a minute, not particularly well detailed. So we decided to upgrade again.
Yeah.
And this time around we bought from Shattered Effects. It's a $550 mask this time. Actually, $555 was the exact amount we paid. And that's what this episode's about. So what made us make this leap? Because, like I said, we're talking about order. Every step's been an order of magnitude. But I think mentally there's a huge barrier between $60 for a mask to damn near $600.
Yeah.
There's a big leap there. You know what I mean? And the reason we ended up doing or deciding we can do it is because last season, we didn't have a lot of haunt-related expenses. We had all the money we were going to sink in the haunt, we actually sank in 2019.
Yeah.
And that was the year we were closed because of the road. No road, no haunt. And then we had 2020, 2021. We all know what happened there. And so the haunt was built and paid for pretty much 3 years before it opened.
Yeah. I mean, we had a couple of small builds to do at the very end because we decided to change the layout a little bit, add to it.
But nothing serious.
Major, nothing serious.
Nothing expensive.
Candy's always a bear.
No, I forget about candy. We always spend about $100 to $200 on candy.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we had very little expense going into the haunt. And even though we had a relatively low visitor count compared to where we were in 2018, we had incredibly high donations.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up with over $800 in donations, if I remember the total correctly.
Yeah.
And after we covered catering the actors, candy, sodas, supplies, and other things we needed, we still had about $600 left over.
Yeah.
Which is a weird place for us.
Yeah. We asked the actors if they had bought anything that they needed.
Or they needed money for Ubers or Lyfts, anything.
Yeah.
Please tell us how this money can help you make this not cost you money, make this not hurt. We begged and pleaded, and no one took anything. Mm-hmm. And so, we're sitting there with a wad of cash that we didn't need. And we didn't make a profit. I want to be clear about that. If we factor in the money we spent in 2019,
right,
we definitely did not turn a profit. We definitely spent more in 2019. But as far as what was on hand, we were doing reasonably well ourselves financially. We didn't need the money, so we're like, okay, fine, we'll turn it into a new mask for Bernie. We've been talking about it and on that fence for years, even before the closures.
And part of the decision to do it this year is that if we're going to go another year, then we're going to go at least 5 more.
Yeah.
Because there was some concern before we reopened about whether or not we would still have the love of haunting that we had
after 3 years. Yeah, being shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had real talks, especially during the height of the pandemic, when we were really doing the self-isolation. We had talks about just taking the haunt down and converting the garage into video space or art space.
Yeah.
Basically making it us space rather than the haunt. We opted not to do that, and I'm glad we didn't.
Right.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. When we realized when we opened for 2021, we were probably going to at least go through 2025, because that'd be 20 years. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's a good time to stop. Maybe 2030. That'd be 25, a quarter of a century of Bernie Baxter.
Yeah.
That could be a good time.
Yeah.
But we knew we were going to probably make it to one of those years.
Exactly.
And so we needed something for the next few years.
Yeah, because people noticed this year, this past season, that the mask wasn't fitting as well, and even little kids, a couple mentioned it.
And I had trouble with it because of it not fitting well. It traps way more spit. And so the whole face is wet with spit and sweat. It's just gross.
Yeah, and your hearing has changed in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's something we're going to talk about later on, too, is that exact issue. So the purchase of the mask was actually surprisingly difficult. They have, on Shadow Effects site, they have a list of head sizes.
Yes, and we also did look at Immortal Mask and CFX.
Yeah, we had 3 companies we were looking at about the same time.
Yeah.
And honestly, for this mask, all 3 of them had old man masks that would have been great.
Yes. We just went with the cheapest.
Yeah, basically we went with who offered us the best deal.
Yeah.
But the one weird challenge we had was trying to figure out if my big fucked up shaped head will fit in the mask. And the reason is because they have very strict size limitations, and I have a head that is on the big side. Like, it doesn't look big, like when you look at me face on, because I have a very long face. But apparently I'm very aerodynamic. The sides, I go way back on it. And that has given me trouble buying hats.
It's a shotgun house.
It's a shotgun. My face is built like a shotgun house. Doesn't look like much from the front, but it goes on a ways. But that's given me a lot of problem buying hats. And one of the reasons the Bernie hat we have, the main one, is knitted is because that stretch. And it can go on over masks.
I think it's crochet, but yes.
Well, it's knitted or crochet, whatever. It was handmade with stretchy yarn.
Yes.
And that's why. Because I needed something that could go over both my fucked up face and the mask.
Yeah.
And that managed to do it. We tried to follow the instructions on Shattered Effects site. We kept getting wackadoodle answers. We finally think we got it, though. And apparently we did, because it does fit me. So we made the purchase on Black Friday, November 25th, year of our Lord, 2022. And because of that, we got $100 off the mask. And So we made the purchase, and we opted for the retiree. They also have an old-timer mask, which is another just regular old person mask. But the old-timer appears very sad and grumpy, where the retiree is more of a neutral expression older person. And that's why we chose that. And the reason we chose Shattered Effects at the end of the day was they had the best deal, especially when you factor in the Black Friday deals. Yeah, and this is supposed to be a fun character. So we ended up paying $555.33 because why shouldn't everything be a number repeated? And then we waited.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. This portion is going to sound, and I guess kind of be, negative. And so I want to spoil the ending. We're very happy with the product. We recommend Shattered Effects. We're very satisfied with what we got and what we got for the money. No issues. However, the wait was kind of a bitch. And the reason was because when we bought the mask, the wait time on the website listed their delay as 5-ish weeks. They said 5+ weeks. But 5 weeks was what they said. Now, I knew at that very moment that was unrealistic. A, you're going to get a lot of sales on Black Friday.
Right.
B, 5 weeks puts you at Christmas.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
And I know that a lot of my other friends that were going to Transworld were spending a lot of time working on products to take there and not a lot of time filling orders.
Yeah. So, I knew it was unrealistic. I expected it to take longer if by some fluke it wasn't already available. Yeah. Like, I didn't check their already available store.
Right.
But I realized after we sent off, it could be available. And then I never looked. It could be like already made. That'd be great. We get it in like a week. But no, that isn't what happened. Obviously, it wasn't pre-made. But here's the thing. I got an email confirming the order saying that it listed my order as awaiting processing. And that means something very different in the financial world. Like Ellie, our girlfriend, works at a bank. Awaiting processing means awaiting processing of the transaction, basically.
Right.
So I wrote them on December 2nd to confirm that the order was received and everything was okay. The money had come out of the account. I just want to make sure they knew it. And they had everything they needed. And they confirmed everything was okay. And then sometime between Black Friday and when I checked again, the wait time jumped for 10, 12 weeks. That's a pretty big jump, but I felt that was more realistic.
Yeah.
I actually said, okay, that time frame makes sense. One of the frustrations, though, speaking of which, is that their order status page, like the email you get from them, you click the order status page, it never loads. It takes you to the page, but it like has this little animation where it's like we're loading the data for you, and it just never loads. It will sit there, and I've tried it on 5 different devices, 3 different network connections. Never been able to get it to load. But anyways, so now the estimate is 10 to 12 weeks. That would have put it sometime in January, basically. Or sometime, toward the late January, early February, which that's going to collide with Transworld last year. But anyways, on this January 10th, I still heard nothing. I wrote them once again, and I want to be clear, every interaction I had with someone at Shattered Effects, they were incredibly polite, courteous, and quick to respond.
Yes.
Be very clear about that. Very nice, very evil. But very nice. Very nice. And they gave me, on January 10th, an estimated shipping date of March 1st. And when I went by the Shattered Effects booth at Transworld, I asked again, and they said, yeah, late February, early March. March 1st is a good target date. I would expect it to go out then. On February 10th, I got an email that my order was processing. I'm not really sure what that means in this context. No. I guess that means they're in the process of making it, but I don't know. It was weird. It was a weird email, and I didn't bother with it. Then on March 20th, I got an email from Stamps.com notifying me that I had a shipment incoming from Jared Alcala. I think how you say it. He's the owner of Shattered Effects. I had to Google the name to find out this.
Yeah, because you didn't know what was being sent to you.
No, I knew it was being sent to me via UPS. I did not know anything about it. I have still, to this day, not received anything from ShatteredFX.com indicating the order is complete.
Interesting.
I've received nothing from them. Nothing from a SharedFX.com domain or email account. It's just kind of weird. And the package was supposed to arrive on the 23rd, but UPS fucked up somehow, and that's on UPS. It got here on Friday the 24th. For those playing along at home, that was 120 days or 17 weeks in one day. I don't think that's a wholly unreasonable amount of time.
No.
This is a custom product.
Yeah.
It takes time. I completely don't think that 17 weeks is outrageous for this. But my concerns here are threefold. First was the lack of communication. Other than those two automated emails, one saying order confirmation and one saying it was processing, I received no correspondence from ShatteredFX. Like I said, the other thing I got was from Stamps.com, and I'm pretty sure the only reason I got that was because I subscribed to Stamps.com, and they tell me when things are being shipped to me. I had to initiate every communication with them. And like I said earlier, the order page where you check the status of your order is broken on their site. Second problem is they missed their own estimates. I knew the 5-week one was silly and dumb. I never really expected that one. I don't know why that was even on the site. But it was 17 weeks. It wasn't 5 weeks. It wasn't 10 to 12 weeks. It shipped on March 21st, not March 1st. And the thing is, I understand. I'm a small business owner too. Shit happens. And it's amazing how much shit people will put up with if you communicate.
Yeah.
But there was no communication. There was no proactive, hey, we know we told you March 1st. This is what's going on. We're sorry. It'll be out more likely on this date.
Yeah. At least it wasn't the car. Because the place we bought the car from kind of did the same thing.
Yeah.
But that was
fuckers.
that was a more urgent matter because
we didn't have no car.
Yeah, exactly. They kept telling us, oh, it'll be here tomorrow. So Jonathan gets up with me, drives me to work, fights through traffic for multiple days in a row, and it's always the next day. And if they had just been like,
it'll be here that Tuesday.
Yeah, giving us a good estimate to begin with, then it wouldn't have been nearly as frustrating.
Yeah, and that's a similar situation here. I don't think 17 weeks is unreasonable.
No.
I really don't.
In fact, I think if I were ShatteredFX, I would put 20 weeks on the site, and then if you beat it, people are going to love you. You know, do the old tech trick.
The quote, the legendary Scotty, every engineer's a wee little bit conservative on paper. Be conservative on paper.
Exactly.
So yeah, and the other issue is that most people, like you talked about the car. Yeah, that whole ordeal was like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. This
was 5 extra weeks.
Yeah.
You know? But
it also wasn't close to when we would actually need it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had the time to spend, time to go with it. But still, I would have really appreciated just a heads up. I would have appreciated just a note. Or even if it was just that the order page was working and could update me.
Yeah.
That would have been great. I don't even need a human to do it. Just fix the order page. That would have been fine. Yeah, this is the type of thing that in other industries, like if you bought a $500 drill press or if you bought a $500 laptop, you would not tolerate this lack of communication and these delays.
Yeah.
You would just flatly would not.
No.
And the same thing goes for like if I told a local artist, make me this custom painting, I did a, what's it called? When you pay someone to paint what you commissioned. If I commissioned a painting and the artist's like, okay, yeah, I'll have that to you in 10 weeks. And it went to 17 without an explanation.
Especially if you had already paid for it.
Especially if I already paid for it. I'd be miffed.
Yeah. You'd be wondering if the artist took the money and ran.
and the thing is, like, SharedFX has a great rep.
I knew that they weren't doing that.
We knew that wasn't the problem. But I still would have really appreciated more communication on the customer service side. More of a proactive customer service than a reactive one. I think that is the big note for what I would change with this experience. So that raises the question, yeah, if you order from there, I would expect to get a great product expect incredibly nice and incredibly knowledgeable people, because they were, but just know that the time estimates, both on the site and person, are unreliable.
Mhm.
And that's par for the course. I get it. Just expect to wait. I think your idea of saying, okay, it's 20 weeks,
Mhm.
and yeah, if we beat it, we beat it. It can take up to 20 weeks.
Yep.
I think that's totally reasonable. But that raises the question, how's the mask?
Yeah.
Great. I mean, fuck.
Hmm.
The product, I have no notes.
Mhm.
I mean, in fact, I'm glad we already hit the 40-minute mark on this episode, because I have very little to say about the mask because it's just good.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that, like, I noticed both when I was at Transworld, because even though they didn't have this mask, I was able to feel and touch some of the other masks. The one thing I noticed that's different between this mask, and I'm also sure CFX and Immortal mask and everyone else, right, is just how thick this fucker is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, compare it to even the regular DOA mask,
Yeah.
which is like, it feels paper thin. Compared to this is like half-inch thick silicone everywhere.
Mhm.
It is a thick and chunky boy. Even compared to our thickest, most expensive masks, it you know where that money went.
Yeah.
Basically, is what it is, and it's very stretchy and very durable. And after some video instruction, it was very easy to get on,
Mhm.
because these are this is a full head mask,
Yeah. Head and shoulders.
head and shoulders. Yeah, it's got the little
Neck.
head, neck, and top of shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The detail on this.
Yeah. That's
is
what
fucking
blew me.
beyond the moon.
That's what blew me away. I spent several minutes just looking at it on the
Head provided head.
yes, because
Oh my
you
god.
can tell that an artist did this.
Yeah. Oh, I have
I mean-
1,000%.
Yeah, because there are little wrinkles and liver spots, and like it looks so. The lines in the skin remind me of a watercolor technique where you take saran wrap and you put it on top of watercolor as it's drying to make like fairy wing looking
Yeah.
things. And that's what it looks like to me as the skin is just,
Yeah.
is that you put it on and you rub it in and then you
Like,
pull it off as it dries.
The mask has bruising.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like mild bruising, like you would expect
Hmm.
on someone who's older, has liver spots and other imperfections. And the detail extends to every square millimeter of
Yeah.
that mask. Even the bits no one's going to see. Bernie Baxter as a character wears a jacket with a coat with tails,
Mhm.
and a high collar and a tie.
Hmm.
So nothing below like the Adam's apple in the neck ever gets seen.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? Unless the costume rips or tears or moves in some way, I can't predict. Nothing below like halfway down my neck gets seen. But even on the shoulders, even the lower neck, all that stuff, immaculate detailing. It is incredibly detailed. And like seeing it or seeing their masks at Transworld, it doesn't give you the full effect when you're holding it in your hand, like this.
Yeah.
And I think it's because like they took all the fantastic masks, the Transworld. They didn't take any of the realistic human ones, basically.
Yeah.
And so they put so much detail in making this mask look realistic.
Yeah. Like even the lips look wet.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
And it's going to take some time for Ellie to be able to be around you when you're in the mask.
Yeah, I think that is the ultimate demonstration of how transformative this mask is.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the test fit, it was very, very transformative.
Yeah.
But Ellie has a long time issue with people in masks.
Hmm.
It disturbs her to a degree. She's never fully explained it, but
It's something to do with aphantasia.
yeah, she has aphantasia, which means, for those who don't remember the episode we did on it, it's when you can't picture things in your head. Your internal, your mind's eye is text oriented, I guess. It's playing a text adventure.
So anybody could be in that mask.
Yeah, so exactly, and that creates a real problem, makes her very uncomfortable. It's like a uncanny valley situation.
Hmm.
However, the DOA mask, she had gotten very comfortable.
Yeah.
She had no issue. That's just Jonathan and his ridiculous Bernie mask.
Yeah.
The minute I put this on for the test fit, she had to go.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Yeah.
That's the difference. right there. That is literally the difference. And we do have to do some adjustments. We are going to have to do eye makeup, and I am going to bitch every minute about it, I promise you.
Yes, I know.
But we need to do the eye darkening. It doesn't look right without it. And you can see on the models on the site that they do it there too. It needs to be done. And we're going to have to do some adjustment with the lips. The lips seem to clash with mine. It makes me look like I have a double lip.
I think it's because the way we put it on quickly.
Yeah.
We just need to do better with getting it on you.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's going to be a matter of adjusting the fit on my head.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with the mask.
No.
I think the mask is great on both fronts, but we have to make the adjustments on our ends. We may also enlarge the ear holes.
Yeah, because that is a place where it's very thin. And there's already a small hole there.
Yeah.
But with your hearing issues, we may have to enlarge it.
Yeah. And we've talked about it before. I have eustachian tube disorder fairly seriously. That means my hearing is very, very bizarre. Mm-hmm. I can hear some sounds like they are fucking stabbing at my very soul. Uh-huh. And other sounds I cannot hear at all, it seems. But like conversation, especially in a noisy environment, is difficult for me. And so enlarging the ear holes might be necessary just to make sure I can hear when our visitors are talking and understand what they're saying. So we're going to have to do tests with that.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm poised to recommend.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with what we got. We'll let you guys know as we use it and as we get more experience with it, how we continue to feel. I'm sure we'll have more thoughts as time moves on. We, like I said, just got it, and we've only done one test fit.
Yeah, and one quick thing I would have liked to have been included in the box were care instructions.
Yes. They gave us a catalog of their masks, which is fine, but no care instructions. We've had to find those online elsewhere.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I mean, ultimately, I'm poised to recommend. Mm-hmm. This is a good mask. We got it at a great price. Mm-hmm. The price and quality line up perfectly. I would have preferred better communication and especially more proactive communication, and more realistic estimates would have been nice too. But ultimately, we bought the mask on Black Friday, A, for the sales, but B, because we knew we didn't need it for a long ass time. So we had all this runway where if it is held up, we're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we're not hurt by the delays. It's just would have been nice to be had it explained to. But the quality is just breathtaking. And like I said, I've seen these masks and similar ones before. But man, holding this in my hands and wearing it like I did, it's an incredible experience. It is very transformative. It is creepily transformative. I watched the video, and especially from the sides. Yeah. I was just an old man. Yeah. There was no couching. There was no, I was an old man, but no. Especially from the sides and toward the back, I just looked like an old man, and I moved like an old man. Mm-hmm. It looked like skin. Felt like skin.
It feels like it.
And it feels like it too. And I'm going to have fun. I'm going to tell you one thing I'm looking forward to when wearing it for, actually when we're open, is every fucking year, there's this one kid who's like, "Can I touch your skin?" And they touch it. It's just a mask. And they rub my cheek or something, and it's just a mask. And that's fine. I mean, usually the kids saying that are the ones that are really, really scared and like are on the edge about going in. Yeah. And so giving them that helps get them in the fucking door. I don't mind doing it. But it's going to be interesting this year because you feel that it feels like fucking skin. It feels like very rubbery skin, but it feels like skin. Yeah. I think we might lose those bastards.
You're going to scare people away before they get in the door. But that's okay, because if they can't take Bernie, then they can't take the haunt.
Yeah, Bernie is kind of the baseline, because he's a silly character. He's not meant to be scary. And I love it when people come up to me in the line and are like, "You're not scary." Not supposed to be. Yep. Not my job. I'm Bernie Baxter. I'm supposed to be entertaining. Are you entertained? Yes. Well, then I'm doing my job. And thread that happens at least 10 times each season. Yeah. Inside, that's where the scary shit is. It's that way. And so but if you can't handle goofball weirdo Bernie, you can't handle what's inside that haunt. I guarantee you. But anyways, on that note, everyone, though, thank you very much. We're gonna wrap it up here. Like I said, we don't have anything else. Yeah. So on that note, thank you very much for spending the past 50-ish minutes of it. Greatly appreciate your time. Check out more Haunt Weekly. We're hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/Haunt Weekly. Pay special attention to the Facebook page. Hey, go there, facebook.com/Haunt Weekly. Check out the video we did of the very first test fit. Bear in mind, I'm not in costume. I'm just wearing a stupid polo shirt. I'm not in costume. But check it out. It's very interesting to see how transformative it is. And then also, while you're there, like us and do all that fun stuff there as well. And also, Facebook, the other reason to be on Facebook, live shows coming soon. Stay tuned. But on that note, everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you all next week.